Even when feedback sounds nasty or maybe is nasty, a great realtor will help you interpret it so you get the outcome you're looking for, which is a sold home.
Moving forward with the Dekker team. Moving forward together with the Dekker team.
We are thrilled that for over 37 years, we've been able to come alongside you at the Dekker team, not only selling, buying, and investing in real estate over 3,117 times, coming alongside you to build your wealth, build your fitness, build your fun, build your finances, and even strengthen, heal, and flourish inside relationship. And this one is all about relationship with the information that comes at us as sellers, which can feel daunting, aggravating, even the word nasty. I could have used so many other ways to describe it because it feels that way when it's coming at us.
Right. And there's information, and if you can use the information to make decisions to help you move forward to what you want, that's the end game. And interpreting that feedback. Now, what do we do when we get this feedback that may feel a little emotional, a little hurtful, what do we do with it? Sometimes we need to make some adjustments. And we're going to talk about some of the typical adjustments, which may cost some money, may not cost money, may cause you to lower your price. And many times sellers will say, well, I don't want to lose that much money. Well, they're not losing any money because the house was never worth what they're asking, because the market has spoken that we're not willing to pay that price for it. So it's not about losing money. It's about adjusting to the market to actually get the most amount of money.
Right. And the Canadian Real Estate Association comes out with these statements consistently and all the time. And that is, when a home goes on the market above what the market will bear for it, when it eventually does sell, it sells for less than it ought to have sold for in the first place. Like when somebody says, I got time, that's supposed to be a asset in getting more money. Well, it's not. It typically works in reverse. Get it into the market at the right price, and then you're going to get the feedback of questions and the feedback of offers rather than people's interpretation and perspective from their own vantage point. You'll get more of that. Sometimes it's the wrong person looking at your house, and we do an amazing job of qualifying and attempting to make sure that only the right people are seeing it. And sometimes there's not a lot of value in the feedback, and we can tell that when we get it once. When you only get a specific feedback once, it's usually just an indicator that the wrong person was really looking at it.
Yeah, we're looking for patterns. We're looking for multiple showings and no feedback, because that is feedback. Multiple showings and no offers. The typical is around 7 or 8 showings for a home to sell. So if you've got a property, or we have a property, and it's getting into 10, 15, 20 showings and no offers, that tells us something. It tells us we're close, because if we're getting 0 showings, then we're far off on the price. But if we're getting close, we're getting a lot, we call it being a bridesmaid and not a bride, then sometimes it's a small adjustment. Some sellers ask us, well, what can I do to make my home more desirable? We love that openness, the willingness to participate in making their home.
Right. And the reason we'll sometimes suggest, hey, do you know what you could do based on the feedback rather than waiting for you to ask? However, it's easier for you to receive the information if you ask for it. Yeah. So we try and set it up so that there's a desire to ask for the information, or even planting seeds around, we're getting the same thing again and again. So what if we look at the feedback very clearly and specifically? Is it worth considering some things that maybe are worth doing?
Yeah. Sometimes it's odor.
Yeah.
Every home has its own kind of unique smell. And sometimes it's not, you don't smell it because you've lived there. But sometimes a buyer coming in, especially out of the cold, they smell it. Or in the summer, in the heat, it's developing, getting ripe, so to speak.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's like, okay, if we brought in an ozonator machine or an ozonator company, if it's a bad smell, we can take care of this odor
Right.
and make a big difference in the sale price, right? So that's a feedback that's consistent. If people are saying there's a
Right.
smell in the basement or
Right. Now, typically those ones, though, we're going to get before we ever get it to market.
hopefully,
Because we've paid attention. Like we've had one situation where we didn't because they had the carpets cleaned after our walkthrough. And when we did the walkthrough, it smelled great. It was wonderful. It was fantastic. And I think that's the situation Ken's thinking of. And then the feedback, I was floored when I got the feedback because I thought the house smelled great. I was there and my nose works really, really well. I'm usually the first one to notice when there's an issue. And it was the carpets got cleaned and the dampness brought out the smell. And so sometimes things change very rapidly. So we want to respond quickly to anything that's repetitive. And we want to address the things that are apparent before we ever have to put somebody through getting feedback that's unnecessary.
yeah. And sometimes we can make changes if we're open and curious rather than defensive. We can make small changes which can affect big things. Like sometimes we'll say it's too cluttered or too small. That means maybe we can remove some furniture or change some different things, some nuances that may cause people to feel more able to put themselves in the home emotionally. Because people make buying decisions
on emotions. I mean, they do use logic. I mean, I'm sure use logic. You look at the room sizes, you look at the pictures, you look at the location, you look at the amenities, you look at what it has to offer, and before you ever go there.
Yeah, that's where the logic comes in.
Right. And once you get there, it's really just verifying that you think this is the home. I mean, it used to be that people would look at upwards of 20 to 30 homes often before they would make a decision as to which one. Now in person, sometimes it's as little as 1, 3, or 5 homes, and the average is only 5 to 7 that people look at before they make a decision, because so much of the scrutinizing and the decision making is done before you ever get there. Right? It is done before. So buying a home is logical. And the one that you settle on, emotion generally leads the way because the logic's been handled up front.
Yep. And it can be as small a thing as bringing in some fresh flowers, setting up the dining room like it looks like it's ready for dinner, just making it welcoming.
Right.
And sometimes if your home isn't selling, some nuancing the price, maybe a slight different price. Maybe it's relaunching it, putting a new MLS, getting a fresh start by adjusting the price a little bit and adjusting the photos where we're focusing on. Maybe we start focusing on lifestyle as opposed to room space or something. There can be some tweaks, but if we go back to the very beginning, it's a great agent that will interpret the feedback with you and strategize with you as to how to make those tweaks to get the end goal, which is a sale, a better price sale, better conditions in the offer. Sometimes even just get an offer, something we can work with, right? And we can work on. That's so important.
Ultimately, I think what Ken is saying is that a clarity call is what you need if you want to avoid even getting a lot of this nasty feedback. Because after 37 years in the industry of helping people navigate and prepare homes, if you're open, we'll help you do these things that Ken's suggesting before you ever put it on the market for the first time. So no need to reposition or relaunch. We'll just get it right out of the gate. So go to dekkerteam.com and we will be thrilled to have a next step clarity call with you about what you might want to do to prepare your home.
Thanks for joining us on Life's Inside Track, because when we move forward together, we've got this.
Moving forward with the Dekker team. Moving forward.